the gathering of the future. Students from over 15 schools across Cayman. Save the date, April 18th. The Rotary Central Dr. Bill Rudy Science Fair, sponsored by CUC, supported by the Cayman Motor Federation. Sign up today. RotaryScienceFair.ky. The future is sparking.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Talk Today is brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk Today.
What's on your mind, Cayman? If you're ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Discussing current events and local news, community spotlights, hot topics, listener stories, cultural and historical discussions, environmental issues, fun and lighthearted topics, guest interviews. Cayman, basically anything you want to talk about, we are ready to listen. Here's your guest host.
Hi. Good afternoon, listeners. This is Amanda Roberts from Dorman Day. I'm a school advisory service in Cayman, and I'm stepping in for Mr. Glidden today as he's not well, so we wish him a full recovery very soon. And I brought a group of friends with me, schools, who have very kindly come to Cayman to showcase their products, their boarding schools and summer camps. And for our winter fair, which is tomorrow in the Western at 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. So today on the radio, we're going to tell you a little bit about each of the schools we have here. There's other schools also joining them. We're going to have 10 schools altogether, 3 summer programs. So it's going to be a great way to explore schools and something to do for the summer. So I'm going to start by introducing everyone, and then we'll talk a little bit about each school. Firstly, we have Rob Service from Academy St. Cecile, which is an international school over in Windsor, Ontario. He's their athletic director and coach, and very kindly came to see our roller hockey kids play last night. Next, we have Caitlin Griffiths from Montverde Academy, which is a little bit closer to home, over near Orlando in Florida. Many of you may have met Caitlin before because she's a regular visitor, and obviously another very sporty academy. And next to her, all the way from the UK, we have Dave Watkin. And he's from Colford School, which is, again, we're a bit of a sports focus today, definitely. Has some sports academies, golf, soccer, tennis, dance. And he'll tell you all about Colford, which is near Ipswich in Suffolk, just under a couple of hours from Heathrow. And then finally, we have Gavin Hull, and we're very grateful for Gavin joining us. He comes with Onondaga and Camp Candelore, which are Ontario summer camps. I call them the traditional jump in the lake camps, and he'll tell you a bit more about what else they do. But so that's our crew today. And as I say, more schools will be joining us at the Western tomorrow. And I'm going to start by asking Rob, tell us a bit more about Academy St. Cecile.
Thank you, Amanda. Academy St. Cecile is a Canadian international Catholic boarding school located in Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Excellent academic school, IBAP programs. And I was hired 3 years ago, actually, to build up the athletic program. So we've introduced 5 new prep sports teams in hockey with 3 teams, 2 boys and 1 girls team, basketball prep, and a soccer prep program. The school's on a 30-acre campus. It's an old monastery with actually a new high school, grade school, built on it with dormitory rooms. The big thing right now is, since I've joined, because I was a hockey guy, played in Canada and played professionally in Europe. We're building a brand new $14 million arena on campus as we speak.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That was actually the interest yesterday in the roller hockey kids. And again, I know a little bit because I'm in Ontario, and I used to play actually in the Ontario Hockey League, about Jackson Cover.
Yeah,
So
that's so exciting for Cayman. We get very excited when one of our own moves up a level, and I mean, he's done incredibly well.
So I was actually very impressed, actually visiting last night and getting a chance to see some of the skill of the roller hockey kids. So yeah, we're real excited to be here. Our school is, like I said, it's got 21 different nationalities in our school. We recruit all over the globe. We have 300 students in total, so it's a mid-sized school. And it's based in the most southern city, Windsor, Ontario, where it's not too cold.
Hang on a minute. Shall we qualify that?
Yeah. But no, it's a really nice school, great academics, and we've, in a short period, really built the sports program. So I'm pretty excited what we've accomplished in the last 3 years and where we're going in the future. So great to be down here and be able to meet some student athletes.
We're very grateful for you coming, and also to Jennifer, the other representative who's here too. Caitlin,
yes.
Montverde.
Yes,
I feel I know a bit about it, but
yes.
not all of our listeners will. What can you tell us?
So we're a true college preparatory school. I know that we are mostly known for our athletic programs, rightfully so. A couple of national championships in there, some state championships as well. But we do have, a decorated fine arts program as well. And so we do conservatory programs for dance, music, and theater. So we're not just a sports school.
Yeah, I think perhaps that's some part that Cayman doesn't always know about, to be honest, because we obviously have a lot of soccer kids and basketball kids that are very interested in becoming more competitive, developing their skills. But your arts program certainly is worthy of note, and we perhaps don't showcase that enough.
Yes, and they do a similar structure and schedule as well. So, we allow our students to really specialize in their craft. So whether that is in athletics or whether that's in the fine arts program, they do a half-day schedule. So they get their academic day done at the beginning of the school day, and then get to train or, do their craft in the afternoon. Yeah. So it allows them to really truly focus on their passions, and then still be able to be a student and a kid afterwards.
So that is kind of a slightly different daytime schedule than most schools would have, in that it is tailored to the athletes on that shorter academic day. But I'm pretty sure that doesn't mean they miss out on anything.
Oh no, no. We are, like I said, we're a true college preparatory school. So our academics is just as competitive. We do advanced placement courses. So we have 34 of those. And then some honors courses as well. So you do get a true educational experience with us, along with your athletic and fine arts experience as well. So,
great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, we'll talk some more in a minute. Dave, all the way from a bit of a rainy England, is it?
Well, yeah, the rain does fall in England, but we're fortunate in Colford on the east side there, because we like to think the sun always shines in Colford. So I'm assistant head at the school. And Colford is about an hour and a half from central London, 2 hours from Heathrow. Traditional British boarding school, but with a really sort of innovative academic and educational programme. And what we've sort of prided ourselves on over the last 25 years or so is allowing kids to combine their academic aspiration with their passion for a particular sport. And we've broken them all a little bit in the UK, I would say. So we focused on tennis right at the start, then we added golf, and then we added what we call football, soccer in these parts. We added advanced
football here too, really, but I use soccer because, of course, we have our American friends and Canadian friends.
The round ball. Let's stick with the round ball. And then we did the same thing for a dance program as well. And it's been a wonderful journey to see. So some of our top players, top 5 in Europe in terms of their tennis players. One of our pupils played at the US Open last year, which is a wonderful achievement for them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was super exciting. Bryson DeChambeau was behind him on the leaderboard, which was an unbelievable achievement for him, and we sent our head of golf across to support him. But I think one of the key things for me in British boarding education is 3 fundamentals, really. Do the kids feel safe and secure? Do we develop their confidence to try new things and cope with adversity? And the third thing is, are they happy? And if we've got happy, secure, confident kids, then they can take a fantastic sort of advantage of all the programs that are involved. And in the UK, it's slightly different, I think, to some of the US and the Canadian programs, that it is very much that all-round blend. And it's really important that the sports fully integrate within their academic programs. And we've just recently completed a £2.5 million refurbishment of the art, design and technology programs, because fundamentally we're trying to prepare kids for a life that sort of doesn't exist yet. The technology, the jobs they're going to apply for, some of those aren't even in existence yet. So I think developing young people to be adaptable, to be versatile, to be resilient is a fundamental part of that. And all the sports programs are vehicles to achieving that, really.
Yes, it's definitely a sort of the time when we don't really know quite which way it's going to go, but we do know technology is going to be big, and then they need to be digitally literate, I think is one of the expressions used.
Yeah, and the sort of current research is that children as they leave school now will probably go on 3 different careers in the chapter of their lives. So it's not necessarily preparing. Sometimes you prepare kids for medicine or whatever it might be, but fundamentally what you've got to do is give the kids the skills to adapt and be versatile in an ever-changing workplace. And I think all the schools here use our sports programs to develop those sort of qualities for the pupils.
Yes, we have a lot of multi-talented children for sure. That's brilliant.
No, agreed.
So, Gavin, you've got the best job, it must be, having fun in the summer in the woods and by the lakes. Tell us a bit more about these summer camps.
Yeah, so kind of the change up for us is, our focus around these summer camps is really around connection. And a lot of that is cultivated through a screen-free environment up north. So the 2 camps are located about 2.5 hours north of Toronto. And through this connection and development, there's all these amazing programs you get to do while you're there. So you get the chance from everything from canoeing to kayaking to sailing to amazing ropes programs to simply just jumping in the lake. They're both located on their own little bays, which is quite amazing. Feels like you're kind of in your own little world there, and it and through these, all of it is cultivated through creating these connections, lifelong friendships, really, with different people. That's kind of the big thing that ends up happening when you're at camp. You can come for kind of about 2 weeks or a month, and you end up, sleeping in the same cabins with new people, developing these connections, and it really ends up making these really cool, unique experiences for a lot of folks from Canada, where they're located, and then also internationally. Both these camps operate with probably about 15 to 20% of them being international kids. So lots of kids come from all over the world, but also about 80% being from Canada, from Toronto and around Canada.
And we like to say it's a great tester for the boarding school for students who haven't necessarily been away, perhaps staying with teams on tournaments or being away from their parents during the holidays or in school, but having a residential experience in a community, sharing a dorm, are all great things to see if you might like boarding school. You think, oh no, I want my ensuite room at home with my
for sure
on my own.
Exactly, and that's it. I mean, it is really a unique experience to kind of challenge yourself to step outside your comfort zone and kind of do it in a really supportive.
We're going to move to commercial break now, but we'll come back to you, Gavin, in a moment. Thank you.
Accidents and illnesses can strike without warning. Ouch! When it comes to urgent care, every second counts. At Doctors Hospital, we have a dedicated team of experienced doctors and nursing staff available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Don't waste time in an overcrowded emergency room when you need urgent care. Whether it's a broken bone, a severe infection, or a sudden illness, trust in Doctors Hospital's unwavering dedication to providing the best immediate care. For complete urgent care when you need it the most, choose Doctors Hospital, located in Georgetown, 16 Middle Road.
CUC Advisory. Customers are advised of a scheduled outage on Wednesday, March 11th between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. for Rum Point Drive from the Flow Tower next to CUC's Rum Point Substation west to the Kaibo on Water K Road. For more information, please contact CUC's customer service team at 949-5200, email service@cuc.ky, or visit their website at cuc-kman.com.
Hey, new drivers, don't just drive, drive smart. Cynical and Inspire Cayman's Safe Driver program will show you how. Get real-life simulator training and classroom sessions to help you gain experience, stay alert, and avoid accidents. Learn to recognize risk, manage fatigue, and make smart choices behind the wheel. Certified participants may even pay less for Cynical motor insurance. Learn more and register at cynical.ky. Cynical, keeping Cayman covered.
K-Fest 2026 is here. The Cayman National Cultural Foundation brings Cayman's biggest art season, featuring 3 standout experiences. The legendary National Dance Theatre Company of Jamaica performing Rise, K-Fest on Film, presented by DART, and the beloved Red Sky at Night, a multidisciplinary arts fair under the stars with local performers and artisans. You don't want to miss it. Catch NDTCJ live at the Hartwell Theatre on Friday, March 6th. And join us for Red Sky at Night on March 21st. Tickets are available now at ticketsplus.ky.
Celebrating 50 years of broadcasting in the Cayman Islands. This is Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back, and I'm going to go straight back to Gavin and for his summer camps in Onondaga and Camp Candelore. And just a sort of housekeeping question, really, for the international kids who are coming from afar, and perhaps even the domestic ones who live on the other side of Canada. Do you actually help them with transport from the airport if the parents aren't able to bring them? How do you manage that?
Yeah, so for everyone arriving in the airport, we have staff who meet them there. We sort out all the transportation from the airport to the camp. So there's nothing to worry about. As soon as you arrive, we have staff that meet and greet them, get sure they're organized, and get them on the transport to and from camp. And on top of that, with all the communication stuff, all goes through us.
And cell phones perhaps don't come into it quite as much when they're out at camp as we're used to here.
Exactly.
So how do you manage that?
That's kind of the big thing is we are actually screen-free environment, which I know for folks coming internationally can be challenging. But the big thing is that's where we come in and provide all that communication. So at any time we provide lots of updates, lots of communication. Anytime you want to call, find and get, just know how your kid's doing. You can always do that at any time. That's really that kind of service we provide to kind of eliminate them from the phones, eliminate that. It allows that connection to take place a lot more when we get rid of screens and stuff. But we take the place of that communication barrier and make sure that there's no confusion or concerns that you have.
So the parents can communicate with you very easily still.
For sure, yeah, totally. And with their kids through, you can put in emails and we'll print them out and hand them out to the kids so they can also read daily emails or communication from the parents directly too.
Well, that sounds good, yes. Mm-hmm. And obviously, with boarding schools, we'll come to you, Dave, at Colford and what you do. But generally, it'll be parents probably bring them the first time. Certainly, Cayman parents would, but maybe the next time, if they're certainly in the later teens, they'll be they're travelling on their own or find a buddy from the school or from another school, perhaps, that they know a Cayman kid who's going to be at the airport. What do you do to help that transition?
I mean, very similar, really. You get one chance to make a first start, don't you? And therefore, making sure that kids arrive confident is a really fundamental aspect to that. And as you rightly said, they arrive with their parents. The parents, get a really good feel for the school. But then subsequently, we've got a chaperone system. So no child arrives at an airport without somebody there to meet and greet them. We don't do it on block. It's done individually. So kids aren't hanging around airports. There's nothing worse than having been on a long flight from halfway around the world to then have to sit and wait. So we sort of sweep all those pupils up. They're brought straight up to the school, and then at the end of each term, all those logistics, all those travel plans, whenever that is, middle of the nights, early mornings, all of those things get sort of coordinated and organised by the school. So, and the other thing I always say, because it can feel quite daunting, I'm going to send my child to the UK. We have 33-week terms. We've got 19 weeks holiday. So it's not I send my kid to school and then I never see them again. They basically live this wonderful hybrid life of going to a British boarding school and enjoying all the benefits of that and developing friends from all around the world. And then at the vacation time, they get to come back to Cayman and live this dual life. I mean, it's wonderful beyond words.
I know from experience, it's not hard to get friends to come back with you either. It's, would you like to come and stay with me? I certainly would, back and go to the beach.
And I think that's really important at the moment. We're 75% British, we're 25% international. So we are that traditional British experience, but with a really diverse mix of international kids. And I just think at the moment that's such an important education for the British kids to have kids from halfway around the world, all around the world, and for the international kids to experience a British education, which we are still incredibly proud of in the UK. And I think that blend of the two things can teach our students really valuable lessons that actually, do you know what, it's really important in the modern sort of world that we live in to look outside and be tolerant, be inclusive, be flexible when you meet people. And I think those are the soft skills that our kids develop that prepare them for life way beyond school days.
Oh, it's great that they all meet from and find out about so many different cultures and experiences. We love it. I mean, we're a small island and we have a lot of nationalities here, so we have a good start and a good grounding in that, but obviously getting a much wider international experience in the boarding schools as well.
Agreed.
And Caitlin, you're a bit nearer, so I bet the parents come most of the time. Probably if they're coming from Cayman, they'll be there. They'll be coming to watch the matches probably as well, knowing our parents.
Yes.
We all like to be involved always. But do you have an orientation week or anything, for example, like that? How do you get them to settle in?
Yeah, so, we have 67 different countries that we represent at school. And so trying to connect everybody at the same exact time is very important for us, learning a different culture. We are, an American school system. And so it might be a little different from a British school system or, different countries that you're coming from. So for us, that's the most important part is, we do a boarding orientation. We have parent boarding orientation as well, followed by a reception.
That's good. I think we need that.
Yeah. And, a reception, so you get free beverages and food as well, part of that. So it's just being able to connect with other parents that are going through the same experience, so we understand that you're giving your children to us, and that's could be an intimidating thing, right? So we try to make sure that we're connecting other parents that are going through similar experiences, and then also returning families as well to kind of help calm their nerves a little bit so that, they're seeing that their child has been here for 3 years and, we have our own security staff on site. So making sure everybody feels safe and secure. And so that's kind of the parental side of it. And then we also have the boarding nights out to try to get everybody connected at the beginning. And then just an orientation so that you get to see your teachers, meet your teachers before going into it the first day. Again, we're a large campus, we're about 100 acres. And so kind of moving around similar to like a college structure, we want to make sure that everybody feels, confident, his favorite word, right? Confident before, the first day of school. So
yeah, it is very daunting. I think we don't. I think it's hard. I would say to the parents, I'm not sugarcoating how hard it is for you to walk away and go home to the empty bed. That's a tough one. But, it's quite daunting for kids, especially perhaps there isn't another Cayman kid in the school at the time, to have that whole... But keeping them busy is generally, I think, what helps them get through. And then they're having a wonderful time, all these new experiences, and Mum and Dad are like
wanting them to come back, but they don't want to.
No, but I know from my own children, they've always been very grateful for their boarding school experience in Canada and the US. And although it is a hard thing for both sides sometimes, but it seems to reap enormous rewards. Now, Rob, I don't know if you do much of that pastoral side, but I'm sure you do with the athletes as well.
For sure. But I know a fair amount about the logistics. And for us, there's really two options. The one is in Canada, that's Toronto, and it's about 3.5 hours away. So we have somebody that coordinates all that. It depends on actually how many kids come in together, whether it's on the same day. We'll send up a coach bus. We have 3 coach buses. Or it could be one of our smaller buses. So we'll do that with Toronto. And again, a lot depends sometimes on direct flights.
Yes, well, we're lucky with Toronto on that one. We've got some options there. We've got another option now. We've got Porter as well as Western Air Canada. So that's, I think Porter may be seasonal, but it's still very good for the Canadian schools.
So you're looking at 3.5 hours down to Windsor. The closer option is in the United States with Detroit. We're a border city, so we're literally 20 minutes from our school to the airport in Detroit. So again, we'll go over and pick up students there. Usually that's more with the bus because we get more students coming into Toronto, entering Canada, and then coming down to our school.
Yes, because if the border crossing, they would have to be organised to come across it with their parents.
And I would say as a boarding school, we pretty much do the same where, again, there's an orientation. If parents are with them, then there's definitely, we have an orientation with parents, explain the school and boarding rules and stuff like that. And again, that first week is usually, orientation for the students. We have a place down by Windsor called Point Pelee. It's the most southern tip of Canada, where we take the kids to the beach. And
when you say beach here, Rob, what are we talking
for Canada?
Here?
No, actually, yeah, it's a pretty nice beach, and it's, like I said, the most southern tip of Canada. You got the Great Lakes there. So Windsor's surrounded by Lake Erie and Lake St. Clair, so a lot of water. Okay. We take them to the beach where, again, playing in the water and going.
It's probably about as warm as it'll get in the fall when you come back then, isn't it?
Actually, the summers are pretty hot where we're at because we're most southern city, so
the water could be a little bit warm, perhaps enough for us to maybe squeak in. But I don't know.
But no, the kids really enjoy it, and it's a great way to just bring all the different cultures and nationalities together with our local students. So
that's great. And that lake water, how cold's that, Gavin?
Oh, in the summer, like you said, it gets pretty nice, actually. I mean, again, I'm from Canada, so it's a hard perspective here in terms of warm. But it'd be a little bit colder than what you're used to, but it's all sunny and probably same kind of weather we're having here today as we'll kind of get in the summer. So
I don't think the kids feel the cold like we
Yes.
oldies. Well, not you're young, but I certainly I'm sort of after 30 odd years in Cayman. I'm not very good with cold anymore.
Fair enough.
Can't swim at Smith Cove until it warms up for sure. But you mentioned earlier the activities, and I saw one you've got high ropes and things like that.
Yeah.
Equestrian.
Yes. So there's anything and everything is kind of, you come to us and you get the chance to try stuff. It's all about doing that stuff and trying things and making those things. So you got horseback riding, you got ropes, you got.
I'm going to come back to that because I understand we're going to commercial break.
Perfect.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Kimmanbrack and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For the Health of It, heard on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. and repeated on Saturdays at 9:30 a.m. is brought to you by The Light Room. Tired of being unwell and struggling to find the energy and vitality to live the life you desire? Come get recharged from the inside out at The Light Room. Our non-invasive, holistic energy enhancement system detoxifies and energizes the body, enabling self-healing and balance. Book online at www.thelightroom.ky or call 938-HEAL, 38 Pasadora Place, GT.
Screenings are an important part of preventative care, yet 32% of women aged 25 to 49 living in Cayman have never had a cervical screening. Similarly, only 30% of men ages 18 to 69 report having had a prostate exam. The STEPS 2023 National Health Survey gives us information on the prevalence of risk factors for non-communicable diseases such as cancer. Your health matters. Let's step into Wellness Cayman. Learn more by logging on to gov.ky/steps.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hi, we're back again, and I'm going to go straight back to Gavin because I cut him a bit short on talking about his high ropes course and other activities they have during the summer camps.
Yeah, so it's really you get the chance to come and try new things. So everything from horseback riding to high ropes courses. So there's a giant swing that's a 70-foot swing. You get taken up and kind of drop all the way down. There's rock climbing. There's everything from a zip line that ends in the water. You kind of name it. These camps have it, and so you really get the chance to step outside your comfort zone. There's also wakeboarding, water skiing, all that kind of really fun stuff that you get to really do and try. And if you're coming and you're like, I've never done any of these things before, that's what we love to hear. That's what our staff the staff are there for, to help develop those skills, try those new things, and really challenge by choice is kind of a lot of how all of our programs are based to really push you to try new things and step outside that comfort zone, but also make sure you don't go too far.
Yeah. Now, Dave, our schools in Cayman are pretty good, so we know that we want to go overseas to perhaps improve our sport, have a wider cultural experience. And what else do you think for a Cayman student they would really benefit from going to a boarding school?
I mean, we've got a couple of Cayman kids at the school at the minute, and they're great kids. And so it's got to be really careful here, because the kids in Cayman are fantastic. There's really good schools here. And we're not here saying, "Oh, come to England because we're better."
No, not everybody has to go to boarding school. I always say
Absolutely
that,
not.
but
Couldn't agree
you
more.
know, for some kids, it really does benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was fortunate to work overseas myself in Nairobi for a period of time, and this is a similar feel to that. In that when you go to those outposts, if you like, they can.
I'm not sure we want to be called an outpost.
Well, okay. It's not in the UK
but very modern financial centre.
Absolutely, but it's a small place.
Yes,
it's a small place.
It is.
I've been to the rugby club. I've seen what it is. Great coaching going on. Great enthusiasm for the sport. But I think what people can experience is two things really. One is the breadth of experience that they'll receive in the UK, and whether that be their sporting, their music, their arts. There's just a real breadth of that, and it's a really competitive circuit in the UK. And what I would advise families from Cayman is it's a buyer's market as well, and that the opportunities that you can expect, the opportunities you can ask for in British schools are phenomenal. In terms of the technology, the training, the coaching, the quality of coaches, the quality of facilities, the amount of competition you can expect. And I don't think I'm saying anything out of order by saying that's where pupils at the age of 13 upwards need to really expose themselves to as much competition and technology as they can.
It's very obvious here. We have to play each other in sports and in other when competitive activities, but or we got to fly somewhere, and that makes it much harder. We can't just do 2 games a week or 3 games a week against another team.
Yeah, and listening to my colleagues here from other parts of the globe, I think there's a sort of common thread. If you go to these guys' school and you are a really good sports person, you may be competing against national and international athletes in that school, and we have the same experience. You come to Culford, you will play against the British number 1 at tennis. Yeah. You'll play against the British number 1 at golf in your school environment.
Wow.
And that's a wonderful preparation to then go and I think colleagues here are doing exactly the same thing. So that isn't distinctive to the UK. And I think the other thread, I met with one of our oldest OCs in Orlando recently, and he said the journey started for me at Culford because I was looked after, I was safe, and to use my favourite word, it developed the confidence that let me then go and take on things around the world. And he went to Uganda and he had this amazing life. And he said it all began because the bedrock sort of sense of identity and confidence. And I think for the right pupil at the right time, that those are the qualities that can be, genuinely life-changing. And my only recommendation to any family is pick the school that's right for your child.
Yes.
Don't pick the school that you think is right for your child. And the second thing I'd say is choose the time that's right for your child to go to the school, not when you think they should go to that school.
Yes, and we encourage this is all about exploring schools as well. The fair on Saturday, obviously, at the Westin from 1 till 5. We're encouraging families to come out and explore the differences, explore what they feel is a good fit, what the student feels a good fit, and whether the location and the budget can work for the family as a whole unit. And the thing I always say is, if it's a teenager who's going overseas, they need to be the one leading the charge. It's not mum and dad saying you have to go. You're not being sent to boarding school like back in the day. It is very much what the teenager being motivated to get their application completed. If they've got to do, for example, essays for the application, if it's like pulling teeth doing them, then well, maybe they're not as keen as we think. Although I know boys writing essays is always a challenge anyway. But I think we like to see that leading the charge by the child, by the student. Then that is part of the road to success when we get there.
I agree entirely with that.
And I think, Caitlin, for you, the motivation to be completely committed to the sport or the arts program is a big part of it, because it's tiring and it's hard as well if you're training every day. And I know when I came over to Montverde to visit, there was a the Naismith Trophy was being awarded, and that was so exciting. Tell us a bit more about what heights they can reach, perhaps.
So we're fortunate that our students are some of the most elite students, either from the U.S. or from a different country, you know, coming in, competing for their own national program. And so we're, you know, when I tour families around our campus, I always kind of let them know we're used to excellent students, right? Where it's very common to have elite student athletes and in fine arts students as well. And so it kind of creates this environment that everyone's there for the right reason. You know, where if people walk onto our campus, they can see smiling faces because students truly want to be there because they want to hone in on their craft. They want to make sure that, you know, we had 4 guys get drafted to the NBA, you know, at one time from the same class. And so that's their pupil next to them, right? That's their peer. And so they're able to mimic their type of commitment to their sport. And so it kind of creates this competitive atmosphere. Everyone wants each other to do the best that they possibly can, including the teachers, including their dorm parents. You know, everyone is collectively working together to kind of put students above and kind of make them stand out on a college application. You know, joining clubs, making sure they're doing community service, trying to be a citizen of our society, and kind of staying humble but wanting more. So.
Yes, I mean, we do like that rounded aspect of a student, that they're, despite the fact they may be doing many, many hours in the gym or on the field, there's community service to consider. Mm-hmm. There's, you know, perhaps joining the school play occasionally or doing a bit of singing or in a band, so that you've got plenty in the tank when you do come to make college applications as well. And and SAT, obviously SSAT to get to the secondary schools is sometimes a test that we have for boarding school, but SAT for the university prep, do you offer that?
Yeah, so we actually start in 8th grade. We make our students do the PSAT every year, going up to their 11th grade year, and then start taking the SAT their senior year. But we have, you know, SAT prep programs. We have tutors that come to our campus. Some of our own teachers are also the tutors as well, so offering tutorial sessions for these students. But we found that, you know, them taking the PSAT beforehand and kind of leading up to their senior year has really prepared them to know what a standardized test in the U.S. looks like. So it's been very beneficial for us to do that.
And Rob, obviously you're used to the athletic side, preparing them for potential recruitment, and how do you get them to understand they've got to do some of that academic work too?
For sure, and I think that's again the way it is. Most of our athletes, their goal or their dream is actually to get to the U.S. to play NCAA sports. And most of our scheduling is actually we play in the U.S. So when you're looking at our hockey program, we're in 2 leagues that's predominantly in the U.S. Basketball's a little bit Toronto or down in the U.S. And soccer the same. So they're looking for that exposure. I think the big thing as athletic director is actually getting them to realize the importance of their GPA. Because again, when you're being recruited, you know, NCAA schools have budgets, and again, the grades can have such an impact on whether or not you get so much financial aid. So we try to do that and educate our students and really push them to find that balance between excellence in sports as well as academics. So it's definitely something that we push a lot at Academy St. Cecile.
Well, that's good to know. And also, I if I understand correctly, if your GPA, your grades are better, the SAT result may not have to be quite as high as otherwise. It's a sort of sliding scale. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's really hard for young kids sometimes to understand the importance there. And I also try to bring back, because I have some of my former hockey players, when we're talking hockey for me, that have actually competed at the NCAA level. So you bring them back and you try and educate your future prospects with, again, their experience playing in the U.S. and again that importance of coming out and making sure that you've scored good on your SATs and also with your GPA.
Yeah, bringing them back. They know how it goes, don't
Yeah.
they? So that's important. And I think, and we're hoping that some of the alum from the schools and people who know the programs are going to come out tomorrow as well to support their old schools. And so if you haven't if you're in Cayman and you went to one of the boarding schools that's coming for the fair, get in touch with them. I'm sure they'll have emailed you, so come along and then you can be on the table with them and help tell the students what it's really like at the school if you've done it there. But I think we're hoping, this is very much exploring what's on offer, and one of the reasons we're introducing Canada, UK and the US at the same time, and the summer programs, especially for our taster residential aspect, is to show that there are some wonderful things that are very much the same in a boarding school, but also lots of things that are different. So that's different. Gavin, what else can you tell us about how you manage? What do you do about homesick? If the girls, have you got a little girl there? She's homesick.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, honestly, it's the most common thing we get. As soon as you arrive, you're in a new place, a new environment, new people, sleeping in a new bed. All those kind of things can be a lot and can be stressful. But it's the thing we see every time. Every one of our staff it's all comes back to that comfortability and really kind of developing that connection. So we really work hard with our staff to develop those connections with the kids so that there is that level of respect and they can have those kind of conversations and stuff like that, but as well as creating the connections with others. So a big part of how these camps operate is making sure that within that first 24 hours, they've made a connection with someone in their group. So, hey, we both love to play soccer. That's amazing. I actually know someone else who loves to play soccer. It all just helps to make things easier and better. And really the only times that we really see people who are homesick is when it's the downtime, it's the bedtime. Throughout the day, you are endlessly doing fun stuff. There is honestly jam-packed with start to finish, just you are too busy to be missing home. And then it's really just those kind of night times that end up being like that. And that's what the counselors are there for. So every cabin has 1 to 2 counselors in it. And they are their counselor, they're their support person, they're there for them, as well as many other people within the camp who they can kind of go to or talk to for any type of concerns or worries that they have.
Right. And I'm sure that's the same in boarding school. We've got house parents to look after them. We've got counsellors, matron in perhaps in the UK school.
Often a peer buddy system as well, so somebody that can be alongside the pupils on that slightly more informal. Some of it's online as well, so it can be done anonymously. So I think that's really important. But equally what's important is that the good stuff is on the other side of going through challenges and going through homesickness and coming out the other side and getting to that place is also a really valuable lesson.
That's good. We're going to move to the news now.
Radio station. Radio Cayman is the voice of the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Elizabeth Charles. The Ministry of Health, Environment and Sustainability has announced the appointment of Rael Roberts as Director of the Department of Counselling Services. He began the role February 9th following Judith Seymour's retirement. Roberts brings over 20 years of experience in social services, they say, and aims to strengthen mental health and family support across the Cayman Islands. In international news, U.S. President Donald Trump is ramping up pressure on Iran, saying there will be, quote, no deal, except what he calls, quote, unconditional surrender, and that Iran should choose a new leader acceptable to his administration. He told CNN the U.S. has already figured out how to make the Strait of Hormuz safer and claims American forces have struck 25 Iranian ships since the war began last Saturday. Israel's military says it has hit a commander bunker in Tehran with 50 jets, as Beirut and Lebanon count rising casualties. In other international news, the U.S. economy unexpectedly shed 92,000 non-farm jobs in February, and the unemployment rate rose to 4.4%, up from 4.3% in January. The Labor Department report, carried by Reuters on March 6th, says the decline in payrolls was nearly across the board, led by healthcare, information, federal government, transportation, warehousing, and construction. Factory jobs have fallen in all but 1 month since President Trump returned to the White House, despite his push to restore domestic manufacturing with tariffs. Those are the latest headlines. I'm Elizabeth Charles.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
At HSA, we strive to provide the highest standard of care with compassion, integrity, and dedication. And so we say thank you, Cayman, for continuing to make us the most awarded organization on island by voting us the best of Cayman Islands in 9 medical categories. Your support reminds us why we do what we do, to serve the Cayman community with kindness and excellence. To find out more about our award-winning services, visit hsa.ky. At HSA,
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land,
As fate would have it, the early educational efforts of the islands were fostered on occasion by the arrival of shipwrecked seamen. The Sister Islands were no different, with the wreck of a mariner named Johnson whose ship wrecked on Cayman Brac in 1863. Johnson would start a school which serviced not only children but adults too. In 1881, Jamaican Henry Hewitt set up the private school in State Bay, charging 9 pence per week. As education pursuits grew, it would be the Baptist Church which would lead the charge given the growth of their congregations in the Sister Islands. Between 1896 and 1906, a large schoolhouse would be built in the chapel at the creek, along with State Bay and Little Cayman.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
What happens after this life ends? It's a question every one of us must face. Around the world, millions have witnessed Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames, a powerful live drama that reveals the reality of eternity. Now it's returning to the Cayman Islands. Join us on March 8th, 9th, and 10th at 7 p.m. at the First Assembly of God Church, 195 Old Crew Road. Admission is free and everyone is welcome. 3 nights only. Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames, a presentation that could change your life.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Welcome back. I'm Amanda Roberts from Dorman Day, and with me in the studio we have 3 boarding schools, one from Canada, one from the US, one from the UK, and our Canadian summer camps director as well. So we've got a lovely buffet of activities and schooling and education and sports in many different locations for all our students to consider and families to consider for the future. And we've just talked a bit about resilience and homesickness, and now we've got the kids, they're all right. What do we do for fun on the weekends? Dave, you're a bit out there in the rural, but you're not too far from London, really? Do you take them on trips to London?
Yeah, I mean, well, we're half an hour from Cambridge, so it's we're rural but not remote, which gives us a fantastic 485-acre campus, which is gives the pupils a real sort of sense of freedom, if you like. But what's really important, I think, in the structure of your working week is that, yes, you've got Monday to Friday where you're busy in the sort of the academic, the sport, the music, the drama, but it's the weekends where boarding schools come to life, where you offer those really sort of really exciting points of distinction. Because then
it's what the kids always say. What do you do on the weekend?
Yeah, what do you do at the weekend? Because it's when, if you like, mum and dad not being there can be amplified.
Yeah.
And therefore a really vibrant programme of activities at the weekend is really important. But also giving that a blend with giving kids downtime. Because often you can think, well, I'm going to keep the kids busy, and it can just become a bit relentless. And if you think about your own family life at home, you know, it's not 2 days of constant activity. It's okay to have some downtime.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. But the downtime then needs to be sort of contrasted with where we are, trips to London, to Norwich, to Cambridge. We've got lots of, the coast isn't too far from us. Wonderful forestry to mountain bike, you know, go-karting, paintballing. But as I say, I think the key thing is to give kids a choice at the weekend.
Yeah, so they're not mandatory, any of these trips. It's like, would you like to go on the bus to London this week?
Yeah, I think some of them will be mandatory because that's the team building element and making sure that friends, but equally when pupils have settled in and they get a bit older, 15, 16, 17-year-olds, you know, they need to have a bit of choice, because I think that's a really important blend of being able to manage your own schedule, be happy, and also have a bit of downtime just to make sure the energy levels, because again, a lot of the schools here, these kids are physically active. Some of our top tennis players are doing 20 hours a week on a tennis court and strength and conditioning. Well, rest is fundamentally important for every child, and therefore blending that with really exciting activities is a really delicate balance to get right.
Yeah, and Caitlin, I think we've got a fair idea of what your kids might be able to do on the weekend. You're near Orlando, you're near Disney, and we love Disney in Cayman.
We're fortunate to be far away enough from Orlando to have a more secure and safe environment for our kids on a day-to-day basis. But we are very fortunate that we're only 30-minute drive to all of the wonderful touristy things, and Mickey Mouse and Harry Potter. All of those good things and wonderful things. So there are some options over the weekend that you'll do the typical touristy things of Orlando, Universal, Disney. We're right outside of the area for all the huge malls. So if they want to do some shopping, things like that. But we also have a lot of professional teams as well near us. So they might go to, an Orlando City soccer game, Orlando Pride soccer game.
Yeah.
The Magic is there as well, so get some basketball as well.
Yeah. No, I know when my youngest, he was at middle school in Virginia, School of Albemarle. They're here actually as well, so that's good. They are very near UVA, so there's some great games that they were able to take buses to take the kids down there, only 20 minutes away. So any universities that are close by, or professional teams that are close by, like you've got, I mean, it's fantastic, isn't it?
Yeah, more so professional. You have the University of Central Florida. That's about a 45-minute drive. So some of our sports programs would go watch specific games. So that's always nice to be able to offer. But, we have quite a bit of variety over the weekends. If they want to stay on campus, we do some festivals on campus as well. And also just a lot of sporting events. So if they want to support one of their dorm mates, then they're more than welcome to do that. So it just depends on the weekend. We have beaches near us. Or to be honest, it's a direct flight, an hour and a half. So even if they would like to go home, they're more than welcome to. It
is a bit nearer. I think we would say you go to boarding school, you want to stay there.
Correct.
You?
Yes.
But I know that is nice that if there was maybe a big family event going on, they could come home for the weekend. Yeah. It's not a crazy stretch to do that for us. So that is definitely what some people might have in mind when they're thinking about it.
Exactly.
Now, Rob, give us a bit more about a daily schedule and how athletes and people that have big commitments, maybe in the arts as well, but particularly the athletes, how they manage their time and get their prep on and things.
Yeah, we've actually embedded our whole sports program in the curriculum. So what we've done is actually put both, whether it's their court training or ice training, in as a phys ed course, and also our off ice. So again, their strength training and stuff like that, also as let's say a phys ed credit. So we've combined it actually into the whole daily schedule. So if I took, for instance, basketball, they'd have breakfast, wake up at 7, breakfast at 7:30. 8 o'clock, they would be on the court. They would do an hour and a half basketball practice. Then from there into the weight room, strength training. And by 10:30, their, say, sport segment would be done, showered, and they would head off to school for 10:30 and then have lunch after their first class, 11:30, and then be back in school till 3:30. Once they've finished that, they've got a little bit of room. If they want, we give a little bit of flexibility with study hall. So they can either do the study hall right after school from 4 to 5, eat at 5:30, or they can choose the second study hall, which is from 7 to 8 o'clock. After that, what we see with most of our, say all of our students, they'll head down to the gym where it's, again, activity period from 8 till 9. So if kids want to play volleyball together, badminton, basketball.
Just sort of knockabout and pick up games.
Pick up games. So it's actually pretty cool to see, you know, all the different activities that all the different nationalities want to play. And then at 9 o'clock, you know, they're heading back to their rooms and, you know, the lights are out at 10 and it starts over the next day.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. It's a full day, definitely.
It's a full day,
and
sure.
I do think, you know, people... students and families need to understand that the children that will do well at boarding schools are those that are willing to participate fully, I think. Obviously, part of the time at the school, we were to bring them out their shells and develop that confidence that we've been talking about. But there has to be that willingness to join in, doesn't it, when you're living in a boarding school community, and at the summer camp too. I'm sure, Gavin, that you want everybody to participate. I'm sure not having the phones helps that as well, because they don't need to be hiding in their room with that. But and do you have things like bonfires, campfires and things? How do you do all that, singing around the campfire with perhaps s'mores and things?
Yes. If you come to summer camp, you got to have s'mores. That's just a classic thing. Lots of, throughout the different program, there's lots of opportunities actually talking about arts and stuff like that at these campfire situations where, you know, the whole camp gets to kind of come together. It's a really fun, unique experience, and people get the chance to play a song in front of the camp or, you know, do a silly skit or things like that. There's lots of opportunities kind of there to really step outside your comfort zone and do that for the first time. It is really kind of like a welcoming place that, you know, it is unique to see a lot of the times kids who you would not expect to kind of, you know, get in front of the whole camp and do those kind of things and really put themselves out there. And, you know, a lot of times people feel really themselves and are able to, it is a really inclusive environment is kind of what, you know, again, the connections and inclusive environment is really what the camps are all about, is really just making sure that everybody feels included, welcome, a part of this camp community. I mean, we end up being this kind of, you know, funny place where there's about 400 to 500 people, and we become a small little community up in these camps. Quite big then. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It is. It is really unique that way.
Are both the camps that size?
Yeah. So they're about 400 to 600 kids or people. Sorry, that's staff and kids included.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I saw for the Camp Candelor, you can do quite a extensive, if you're a bit older, do a trekking trip on a canoe and portage type thing. Would you like to say a bit more about that?
So Candelor is more of a canoe tripping camp itself. At Onondaga Camp, you can do canoe tripping, and there is programs for that. Candelor just has more extensive canoe tripping. So you can end up actually going on these unbelievable trips for, you know, up to 15 to 8 days. You can end up going on really long excursions throughout different parts of Canada. There's beautiful parks all around where we're actually located. There's Algonquin Park and other parks not too far, and you really get the chance to do lots of different things. From, you know, your days kind of look like you're paddling for a few hours. There's end up portaging, which is, you know, lifting your canoe on your back, bringing all your packs, all your stuff, carrying it across to another lake. You kind of end up hopping from lake to lake.
Need to pack light then.
Yeah, you end up you're
going to carry it.
Your
as
food
well.
barrel ends up getting lighter and lighter as you keep going, which is nice. But yeah, it is a really unique experience. You end up doing it with a smaller group, so that group really gets closely connected. You kind of, you know, end up challenging each other and pushing each other through things to, you know, we got to get to this campsite, we got to try these things, and you also feel like you're kind of in the middle of nowhere, which is a really unique experience too, when you may not actually be, but it is a beautiful part of the world for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Now,
I can say it is.
Well,
being
yeah,
a Canadian as well.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, well,
Do you do adult camps like that? too?
Yeah, that's a question we get a lot.
I think we all want to have a go.
I know. We get that question a lot too. Unfortunately, we don't. We should really look into it.
I'm sure there must be one.
I know. There's
Okay,
got to
fine.
be. There's got to be.
We all got to go. And,
For sure.
Yeah. So one of the things, obviously, the knotty problem with all these lovely activities, camps, schools, boarding schools, is the cost. It's how do we make it affordable? They're getting a fantastic service for the money and amazing experience, great education, wonderful sports and arts, everything there. How do we help them pay for it? I always talk, we talk about scholarships, whether they're merit scholarships, whether they be for academic excellence or sporting excellence. And then we have the needs-based bursaries, which based on the family's ability to pay. Dave, start me off on how they could afford to come to Colford if perhaps they weren't quite up there enough to get fit the bill with the fees.
Yeah, I think there's a real awareness as well, because as well as your school fees, so for our international families, it's circa about 52,000 British pounds. So it's expensive. And then you add your flights, and all the
those BA flights are definitely 1,200 upwards.
Yeah, I mean it is. You can't hide from that. It's just a very expensive opportunity to provide for your kids, and I recognise that. And you've touched upon it there. Really, a lot of the independent boarding schools in the UK are charities. So there's been a move away from your scholarships actually attracting financial reward to the school. So what they'd prefer to do is give you a programme. So if you get a scholarship in a British boarding school, that scholarship might be more training, more strength and conditioning, mentoring. So we add value to the athletic programme or the arts programme or the dance programme the kids get. Because if you're a family that can afford to pay, there's an expectation that you do pay. Because as charities, we all get audited. So we've got to make sure that we're using our charitable funds in an appropriate way. But you can apply for a bursary. And your bursary is a means-tested award. So they look at your financial circumstances and you can be then awarded a bursary that will help support your educational life. And I think it's really important that you explore the finances first as a family, as the grown-ups, as the parents. Explore the finances first, and that way you can know that school is an option for you. I don't think there's anything worse than a child falling in love with the school, getting to the end of the process and being told the family can't afford it. Yeah. So my really strong word of advice, if there's nothing else taken from this, is as parents approach the school, say these are our financial circumstances, is your school an option? And
yes,
they'll say yes or no.
I do encourage always the parents to deal with the finances. It's not something we're in the office with the families, we don't discuss the finances particularly at that point. If the child's present, we wait and have another discussion with the families.
Entirely appropriate. And just to reassure families, once the bursary is awarded, nobody else in the school knows. It's a really confidential conversation, usually with the head, the finance director, and that is it. None of the teaching staff, none of the kids know what the financial footing is of any pupil in the school. And there are schools in the UK who have significant funds that they want to direct these funds to kids where there's a need. And then there are schools where you can attract a modest financial award through the scholarship. So the UK, from a scholarship perspective, is a different landscape, I would say, to sort of, I think, Canada. Yes, I might be completely wrong on that, but the 100% athletic scholarship is not something that you'll find commonplace in the UK because the charitable nature of the organisations. But my only advice is there isn't one nice, neat answer, because every school will have a different sort of rules of engagement. Yeah. And in the current sort of economic landscape, with VAT being put on school fees, all those sorts of things, all I would encourage you to do is to talk to the schools, be really open, be really transparent about your situation, talk about the finances first, because then you can bring your son or daughter up the drive of the school, and if they do fall in love with it, then they can go to that school.
That's a very good point.
And I think definitely. While it sounds really commercial on one level, I think it's educationally the right thing to do.
Yes, and obviously the scholarships that are held, and usually in the UK boarding schools, there are sort of certain periods of the year when they may hold those on-campus activities where they come and look at sports people.
Yeah, on campus or online as well.
Do their
can be done online.
assessments, yes.
But it has to be an open competition.
Yes.
That's the key thing. And the criteria are really objective about that. So you can look at kids. So if a parent is unhappy with a decision, it has to be able to be scrutinised by the board to be able to make sure that it was done in that open competition.
Yeah.
And in my experience, for what it's worth, having met a number of the pupils from this part of the world, they contribute a huge amount. So never be shy of exploring. You might explore the sport, the drama, the academic, but often schools will have, so at COVID, we've got the Heads Award, and that is for all-round contribution to school life, including leadership, contribution
like
to
the all-rounder scholarship.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
And it's a really powerful award. If you get an athletic scholarship, a fantastic achievement, but it sort of does what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
I got a rugby scholarship. You're a good rugby player. If you get the Heads Award for outstanding contribution to school life, when you look to life beyond school into universities, people are going to be interested in that. What did that look like? And is that somebody I want to employ? Yeah. And I think, really just engage with the school really early and have those direct conversations would be my advice.
And Caitlin, my experience with American schools is they are pretty generous with financial aid to, to those that qualify. And does Montverde, are they able to offer any financial aid in various forms?
Yeah, so we try to help out a family as much as we possibly can. Our board of trustees meet and they create a budget. We're a nonprofit school, so tuition dollars are truly what keep us, afloat. So we do need-based financial aid. And then, there's always a family section in there that, states some things that might not be on financial documents that they need assistance with and things like that we put into consideration. So we do have a financial aid committee that meets and sees what on paper a family can, afford. And we just go from there and then try to have open communication with each family just to see, what is a budget look like? Is it realistic? Very similar. You have to look at our boarding school as a whole. It's $60,000 to board. That includes everything, on our campus. And so you realistically have to kind of sit down and see worst case scenario, does this work for our family? And then as a school, we try to do as much as we can to help out families and get them to hopefully get their goal in life. Sometimes it's doable and sometimes it's not, unfortunately. So we try.
I do sometimes have to say to parents, it's not what you want to pay.
Correct. Yeah.
It's what you can pay.
Correct. There's a big difference a lot of times.
There is. So we do encourage families to, there are sacrifices. We know as I have 3 children in boarding school. We were lucky to have some generous scholarships and aid. But there are always sacrifices. There's emotional sacrifices, obviously, but also those financial things. Maybe you can't go out to dinner as often. Maybe you can't have that new car or that new bathroom.
Yep.
So that's a personal family choice to make. But when it comes to applying for financial aid, it's what you can pay, not what you want to pay.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. So how do we do it in Canada? Similar?
Yeah, it's very similar. I mean, it's kind of like Caitlin just said. We're like 60,000 Canadian. And
that's good for us. The Canadian dollar's good for us. Not so great for you guys. But
and that's really where it starts. And then, I have these conversations with these parents. And again, we try to do the best that we can. We have budgets and, there's, again, opportunity for financial aid when it comes to academic excellence. And at the same time with athletics. So it's a very competitive market. I've learned over the 11 years that I've been in there, and you win some and you lose some, and you try to do the best that you can to make it affordable for these parents. But at the end of the day, we have budgets, and we're trying to bring the best student athletes into the school and help them as much as we can.
And I always encourage the families to start a little bit earlier because those financial aid budgets do run out during the year. So you might be able to get a late place at some schools if you're a late applicant. And in Cayman, we are a little bit tardy sometimes. But that financial aid budget may already be spent. So I think that's one thing. Definitely, we try to say, start early if you're going to need financial aid, and then you're not. You might get lucky and find that there is still some in the pot for you. Yep. So, and Gavin, obviously fees are a bit better for when it's only 2 weeks or 4 weeks. So, so do you? I mean, do people have to pay straight up front, or is there a payment plan? How do you do it?
Yeah, so we set up a payment plan. So there's kind of a couple different options that you'd like to do. I mean, at this point of the year, we usually actually end up starting it earlier and kind of do like a January, February, April kind of setup if you like to spread out. But obviously, for this time of year, we kind of work with folks individually and try to just make sure to set up a plan that kind of works. We kind of usually try to meet in the middle, but usually around April is kind of our main deadline for kind of payments that way.
Right, and obviously you're all here showcasing your wares. Certainly for the summer camps, could they register at the fair tomorrow?
For sure. What I can do is when you arrive, you come to me. I can connect you directly with the people who have all the exact registrations and kind of coordinate that, and we can kind of make the next steps.
They can get their summer mapped out.
Yes, and let you know exactly which timings are available and all that kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And yes, I'm going to just mention one of the other courses that summer programs that's coming. There's actually the other end of the scale in terms of it's an academic summer program. Oxford Global, who are offering an experience in Oxford with tutoring and research projects, so that those who are more motivated academically and shooting for the really top schools, I'm speaking like an American now, top schools, colleges and universities. Oh dear, slippery slope, and they can boost their UCAS applications or their applications that they're doing for America as well and Canada by doing this summer course. So they will also be at the fair. So, but the guy's arriving late, so he doesn't get to say anything. But I think we've really used our time well this morning, I hope, and I thank very much the listeners for sticking with us, and I hope you've learned a bit more about boarding schools. We obviously send our best wishes again to Charles for a full recovery, and but I thank Radio Cayman for letting me sit in this hot seat today and talk to all these wonderful schools. And I really hope you learned something and that you'll want to explore some more, and that you will come and join us over at the West End tomorrow afternoon. And you can register for the fair by going to the Dorman Day website, which is dormanday.ky. There's a QR code there you can scan. There's a click link. We're on social media, as are the schools too, have been pumping out their social media. So have a look at, they've got some wonderful reels going on about all the activities. But it's very easy to register. It's free admission, but we do ask that you register, please, so we know you're coming. And then we don't have to hold you up at the registration table just to get all your details. But we're very grateful for all the schools that are coming in. We've got schools, as I say, from Canada, 3 from Canada, 4 from the UK, 3 from the US, and then the summer camps from Canada and summer program in the UK. So there's a really diverse. We've tried to widen the demographic, widen the diversity of the offerings, and as we discussed, widen also price points a little bit, so that we can offer something to all those that wish to explore boarding schools. And once you've been to the fair and got all this wonderful information, picked up your brochures, please do come and see us at Dorman Day in Georgetown, and I'll be there if you want to kind of talk it through. You're maybe a bit bamboozled, too much information. We can help you talk it through and guide you to the next steps if you want to do that. So we're looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, and I think that's so. I'll say goodbye and thank you to all the people here, and we love having you on Ireland. Thank you for making that journey to come to us. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Did you know that Doctors Hospital provides urgent care services 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? And Doctors Hospital's urgent care physicians have access to the most advanced MRI and CT imaging in the Caribbean, providing reliable diagnostics when you need it most. When you need quality urgent care for an illness or injury, Doctors Hospital is here for you 24/7. Whether it's a migraine, chest or abdominal pain, shortness of breath, broken bones, or another urgent need, Doctors Hospital at the top of Walker's Road. Urgent care right now.
Talk Today is brought to you by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066.